fight back. Fight back.
Welcome, class, to the fourth lesson of the history of booty. For those who happen to miss the first three lessons, I'm your teacher, Peach Booty, and I'm here to give you a great lesson of the history of gaming's best butts. And speaking of gaming's best butts, for the fourth lesson we have Mika Nanakawa, better known as the thick wrestler from Street Fighter, Rainbow Mika. Now, someone whose entire YouTube channel is based around video game butt attacks, how could I not do a lesson of essentially butt attack the character? As someone who's always been a big Peach fan, she wasn't the very first character that I saw do this type of attack. That would be none other than our Mika. And speaking of Princess Peach, it wouldn't be too crazy to assume that her main butt attack, the Peach Bomber, was inspired by none other than our Mika. If you look at the names of our Mika's butt attacks, most of them have Peach in them. You have the Flying Peach, where she spins around first, then does a butt attack. Then you have the Shooting Peach, where she just straight up does a butt attack and then rubs her butt afterwards. Even a lot of her grabs, like the air throw you saw before, utilize either her thighs or her butt in some way. And Mika, being a Japanese character who hails from Japan, her wrestling style is most likely that of a Joshi, which is a real-life female wrestler, and a lot of the Joshi wrestlers actually utilize hip attacks or butt attacks in some way. The most notable being Kana, who is now Asuka in the WWE. Asuka herself didn't start her wrestling career until about 2004 in Japan, but as you can see, she has a lot of similarities to our Mika, even the butt slap itself, which I'll get into later when it comes to our Mika. But our Mika actually debuted in Street Fighter Alpha 3, which came out in 1998. So that just goes to show you how many Japanese Joshi wrestlers actually use this technique and what our Mika was inspired by. I will say though that Asuka bears quite a similar resemblance to our Mika's tag partner in Street Fighter V, Nadeshiko. Speaking of Street Fighter V, our Mika had a moveset overhaul. Now obviously she still kept the focus on her butt attacks, but instead of having both the Flying Peach and the Shooting Peach, they just kept her with the Shooting Peach, but for the EX they added 2 punches beforehand. The Wingless Airplane, however, they actually changed from a Hurricane Rana to more of just a straight up, I'm gonna land my fat ass on your face type attack. Which just adds another ass attack to our Mika's arsenal. Now let's talk about supers. So our Mika's critical art in Street Fighter V was aptly named Peach Assault, obviously having ass in there, where Mika would throw her opponent to her partner Nadeshiko, and they throw him up to do a double butt sandwich in the face of the opponent, and after slamming them down to the ground. Even back in Alpha 3, our Mika utilized her fat ass in her supers with the Rainbow Hip Rush, where she would end with butt attacks. People will remember that she could even summon a wrestling ring out of nowhere, and one of the attacks was also her Paradise Hold, which utilizes her butt. I remember the super that I used to pick was the V-ism, so I could do multiple butt attacks and carry the opponent across the screen with Armika's massive ass. As much as I love Armika's super in Street Fighter V, there is something that we have to talk about that I wish we didn't, but that was her butt slap censor, as well as other censorship. When it comes to the butt slap censorship, I remember thinking that it was just a bug, some glitch in the beta, and I know a lot of other people thought that as well, because it was done near a wall in the first camera footage that people got of it. It looked very sloppy. It wasn't just zoomed in on her face anymore instead of her ass. It was just awkwardly zoomed in on her lower back, and it kind of made no sense. So again, like a lot of other people, I thought it was a bug. But instead, no, they censored it. And their reasoning for censoring it was like a self-censorship. Like they did it just in case. It was a dumb decision, even Ono had this to say. We didn't make any change because of external influences, reassures Ono. Those changes came up internally. We decided to remove that because we want the biggest possible number of people to play, and we don't want to have something in the game that might make someone uncomfortable. So right there he even admits it. It's purely just in case someone got offended. It's one of the dumbest decisions I've ever seen in gaming, especially dealing with censorship. I don't know why it always seems to be women's butts that get censored in video games, and of course that's not even it for the censorship. Outside of the little bit of censorship that Cammy also got when it comes to camera angles, for our Mika, if people remember that back in 2016, EVO was aired on ESPN2, and the fighting game player Fudo was using her, and he actually ended up having to change his costume from her default costume to her one piece because they thought her costume was a little bit too sexy for ESPN. But enough about censorship. I'd like to end this lesson on a more positive note, at least for me. In this tweet back in May 17th, 2016, Street Fighter's Twitter tweeted out, "You should wish our Mika a happy birthday, or you could be on the wrong side of a shooting peach." I don't believe there is a wrong side. Happy birthday, our Mika. Well, for those who have followed my channel, I've also said that characters like Twintel, who also have a giant ass, and even Peach, back in Melee, I believe both were revealed on my birthday on May 17th. However, with our Mika, I've also seen the same Street Fighter Twitter page and other sources claim that her birthday is the same as Sakura, which is March 15th. So I'm glad at least some point our Mika had the same birthday as me. But that will pretty much do it on my fourth lesson of the history of booty. I'm going to have more updates and polls on my channel to figure out which character I should do next and what else I should do for my channel when it comes to video game butts. So stay tuned, like the video, subscribe, and support video game booty, ass, and thickness in general. See you in the next one.